There. Hi, this is Miss Melinda, and this is my spontaneous, smart diva show. So welcome to my new diva YouTube channel show. Tonight I will be teaching the judicial system. We've been working on this for about 2 weeks. I just take a little at a time. So for those of you who are not here, let me tell you this real quick so I can take my glasses off and be comfortable. So the 4 classifications of the judicial system are, I am too, yeah, it's got to be like this. Okay. The four categories for the judicial system is the classifications of law, the American court system, court and law enforcement personnel, and court procedures. So we've done already the first one, classifications of law, and we are in the middle of the American court system. I thought I was going to be able to wrap it up tonight, but I didn't get to finish preparing for the class. So we're doing the American court system tonight, and I promise you, next class, it'll all be done. And we will be ready to move on to the 3rd category, which is court and law enforcement personnel. And after that, the 4th will be court procedures. And then, so we'll be done with the American court system for sure next class. But when we get all 4 categories done, it's really going to be enjoyable because you're going to be able to understand it. So those of you who haven't seen any of my talk videos, well, we're doing the judicial system. So the most recent, you will see when you go into my YouTube channel, the most recent will be the judicial system, the American court system. And then after that, you'll see the classifications of law, which is the first one, but it'll show secondly. So I want you to watch all of the American court system videos together, one after the other, so you could put the pieces together. So I want you to watch all the videos for the American court system. I want you to watch all of them, like 5 times each, but at the same time, do all of the American court system together, read them at the same time, and read them over and over together. And then you'll go to the next one, and you read, it's only got 2, so I guess that was a short category. Read those 2 classifications of law. Read those together. And read those at least 5 times. Each one. Watch, together. But that's why I'm really enjoying teaching this law. I'm going to be teaching a lot of law classes. That's mainly what my whole thing is going to be. Okay. That's mainly what my whole thing is going to be, is law. Because I graduated in 2008 in paralegal studies, associate's degree at McCormick College on Madison Street and Michigan Avenue, downtown Chicago, right there by Millennium Park. You can see the silver thing from the entrance of my college. But I went to that same college back in 1988, 89, 90, 91, somewhere like that, for court reporting. And we were located on LaSalle Street at that time, right across from the Board of Trade. So, yeah, and the Board of Trade employees were real jerks. They used to come over to our deli in our building and jump in line in front of us at lunchtime. Like, you're just a bunch of young punk college kids. But really, I was like 28 years old when I took this court reporting. But I'd been in college for decades. So anyway, so I did the court reporting there when we were on LaSalle by across from the Board of Trade, and I got up to 180 words a minute. So I was happy. I was so curious to know exactly how are they going to turn the entire English language into this, what they call court reporting theory. How are they going to do it? And I'm dying to do it and try it and see what it is, and do good at it. And it's memorizing. But I was able to do the, I took it for 4 semesters. It was mainly just my court reporting theory on my steno machine on a tripod. And the teacher would do dictation for like an hour, and then we would have to read. Some of us take turns reading our transcripts she just dictated, and then we'd have 10 minutes to key up our transcripts. So you had to move fast. And so I really loved it, but I got 180 words a minute, so I learned it, and I got fast, and I was happy. You have to get 230 words a minute to pass the Illinois state test. I wasn't interested in going any further with it. I proved, and I learned, not just proved. I mean, I learned how you do this court reporting, and it fascinated me. And it was a lot of memorizing, and you had to study. You had to key up. So you say you just start your semester. Do lesson 1. You do it. You key it up, and then you have to read it. For me, I had to keep reading it over and over for like 2 hours, because you won't be able to read your own notes if you don't study them. Me, 2 or 3 hours a night, because you wouldn't believe what you see. It's a transcript of paper about this wide, and it's on a wheel. It's a wheel of paper transcript. You put it in your steno machine on a tripod, and you practice. And so, like, to spell zoo, it's STKPWHRAO. 9 letters just to spell zoo. So that's just to give you a little idea. And you should see the way it looks when you get the sentences on the transcript. They are not sentences that go horizontally, like Tom went to the store. It's not like that on a transcript. If I write Tom went to the store, it's not going to be one sentence across horizontally on that transcript. It's going to have some of it, and then it's going to go down to another line. But there is no lines. I mean, there's no lines that you can see, but it goes down to the next space, to finish a sentence, So, like tiger was AOEU. So tiger was TAOEU. Final G, that was 1 stroke, and then you couldn't fit. You wouldn't, not fit. It's not called fit. You wouldn't make the ER tiger. The R in tiger doesn't go on the same sentence as tig. So tiger is tig, TAOEI. Final G, 1 stroke, and then ER. Your right thumb goes on the E on the bottom of the steno machine, and then the R with your index finger, and that's tiger. I posted that on my Twitter, and I got like 300 hits. People were more impressed with the tiger than they were the 9 letters STKPWHRAO and in 1 stroke. What does this yellow thing keep coming on? So anyway, yeah, so it was interesting. I really enjoyed learning it, and I know it all. And so then I went to Triton, and I learned a real lot for like 8 years there. Then I went back to McCormick, and they'd moved to Madison Street. You could see the Silver Millennium thing. Yeah. All right, let's get to work on class. So, for those of you who haven't seen me yet or watched any of my videos, we are working on the law. We're going to be mainly doing law. We're definitely staying with this particular law class till it's done. I don't want to. I did throw in the solar system the other day, but I really want these American the whole four judicial system, four categories all together. So the videos on my YouTube channel, so that my students and fans and followers can look, watch American court system, the American court system, and keep watching those together. And you watch all of those together 5 times each, and then it's going to go to what was actually the first category, I keep forgetting, the constitutional law, I think. And you'll start, there's only 2 of them, so I guess it was short. So you keep watching those 2 together too. So when we get all 4 categories done, I'll feel like you guys have really learned a lot. And me too, I'm learning with you. Even though I had so much law education, both in Triton and McCormick, I'm still learning, this is still like new to me. This particular, what I'm teaching, I'm learning too. So, here it is, the American court system. Okay. And it's, this is the name of it's not the first words underneath the American court system. I've already done at least 2 different videos on the American court system, at least 2. So this is like the third, and this is not the third word either, because there's words after the 2, inside the 2 videos I just made already of American court. There'll be a couple of, rhetoric. So this is under the second category, but this is like the 3rd time I'm videotaping the special United States courts the special United States courts. That's our next rhetoric for the American court system. So it says, in addition to the courts discussed above, Congress, is those lights on? Yes, okay. Congress often, under the necessary and proper clause of Article 1, has created special courts from time to time to deal with particular kinds of cases. Okay? Sorry about that. My hair. Okay. So, I'm going to write this again. So, Congress often, under that necessary and proper clause of Article 1, has created special courts from time to time to deal with particular kinds of cases. Appeals from decisions of these courts may ultimately be reviewed by the Supreme Court. Among these courts are the District of Columbia, local courts, the Superior Court, and the District of Columbia Court of Appeals, which are not part of the federal court system. Other courts include the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces. See, it gets interesting. There's a lot here. So for the armed forces, which is concerned exclusively with military criminal law, comma, and the territorial courts, which function as district courts for the territories of Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the Northern Mariana Islands as special courts. The U.S. Court of Federal Claims, the Court International Trade, and the U.S. Tax Court are described below. Well, I can't put that on. It's on the page, but it's not a real big deal. You're learning this, so that part's okay. So the judicial system continued. The American court system, we're on the second, category. But it's got a new rhetoric now. This one's called United States Court of Federal Claims. Okay, that sounds interesting. The U.S. Court of Federal Claims was originally established in 1855 as the U.S. Court of Claims. It was exclusive jurisdiction to render judgment without a jury on claims other than tort, equitable, or admiralty claims against the United States in excess of $10,000. Examples are claims for compensation for the taking of property, claims arising under government contracts, claims by civilian and military personnel, for back pay and retirement pay, claims for the refund of federal taxes, and vaccine injury claims. Judgments of the court are subject to review by the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit Court of International Trade. The Court of International Trade was created in 1926. Trade as the U.S. Supreme Court. Through subsequent legislation as integrated into the federal court system and became a court of record. This court deals with actions arising out of international import, transactions and government transactions involving international trade. The Court of International Trade has exclusive jurisdiction of civil actions under the tariff laws, such as controversies over the appraised value of imported merchandise. The court has a chief judge and 8 additional judges, not more than 5, of whom can belong to the same political party. The Chief Justice of the United States may temporarily designate and assign any of its judges to serve as a judge for a U.S. Court of Appeals or U.S. District Court. Ordinarily, cases are tried before a single judge, although a 3-judge panel may be used. Appeals are taken to the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. The principal offices of the court are in New York City. I find that interesting. I would have never guessed that. But its 9 judges are divided among 3 divisions that can conduct trials at any place within the United States. United States Tax Court. The U.S. Tax Court is a court of record established in 1942. and it consists of 19 members. The tax court tries and decides controversies involving deficiencies or overpayment in income, state, gift, and personal holding, personal holding company, quote unquote. Surtaxes in cases where deficiencies have been determined by the Commissioner of Internal Revenue. It hears taxpayers' claims against the Internal Revenue Service prior to the payment of the disputed tax. Other than in small tax cases, all decisions are subject to review by the Federal Court of Appeals, excluding the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, and ultimately by the Supreme Court. The tax court, which is located in Washington, D.C., has 19 judges, which is located, which is located in Washington, D.C. It has 19 judges who conduct trials in locations throughout the country. Still, the American court system, we're still teaching under the American court system, just a reminder because we're starting a new rhetoric. State court systems is the new one now. The judicial power of states is limited by the full faith and credit clause of the U.S. Constitution, which states full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state, quote unquote. It's further limited by the due process clause of the 14th Amendment, which states, quote, no state shall make or enforce any which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Its jurisdiction, the equal protection of the laws continued. Federal courts of exclusive jurisdiction in these areas provided for under the Constitution, namely, conflicts between states, conflicts between a state and the United States, petition for federal regulatory agencies to enforce a decision and prosecution of national criminal laws. And under federal statutes, state courts, in turn, usually have exclusive jurisdiction over matters not held by the federal courts. Two areas that have remained exclusive to the states are probate and domestic relations. State courts may hold concurrent jurisdiction with federal courts in many other areas. Here are many situations where claims may be litigated in either a federal or state court. Was when the requirements for federal diversity jurisdiction are met by there is no federal law involved in the case. It's in the state courts, however, that most of the litigation problems that arise in the lives of most U.S. citizens are resolved, conflicts resolved by state courts. And the last page, by state courts, include these involving domestic relations, common crimes, and misdemeanors, business relationships, morals offenses, personal injury, and property damage, comma, real estate, and aspects of business practice such as sales and secured transactions. The states frequently experiment with restructuring their court systems, although the basic structure of a Supreme Court, comma, an intermediate appellate court, and a trial court of general jurisdiction is usually maintained. So, that was a nice, the American court system class. And I promise you that next class, we will finish the American court system, and we will be ready to move on to the third category for the judicial system. So we're doing this all together, and that's how you guys you'll get into it more and more, like I've been since I've been reading it to you guys. And as you read, so like we'll start with the American system because it's the second one, but it was the last shown, And so you have to watch all the American system, all the rhetoric, those talk videos you watch together, one after the other. Don't jump to other talk videos. Do all of the American court systems together, 5 times each. And then the first category that'll show next is Constitution law or something. You'll watch both of those 5 times each. And then there's just going to be a lot of miscellaneous. I got linguistics and phonetics, which we're going to take a break with the linguistics and come back to that for a long time later, because I really, seriously, ultimately was planning on teaching law mostly anyway, since I got so much law education, So, how y'all doing out there? Saturday night? Yeah, I had to redo this video because one of the lights weren't on and I didn't realize it. And so it was too dark and you couldn't even see my eyes. I hate when my eyes look like dark holes, like crows ate your eyeballs out, like in the movie The Birds. Remember the movie The Birds? And there are real crazy birds. I learned from trying to take pictures of them in my parking lot here. I would throw out nuts with shells, in the shells, and wait for them to come out to eat the shell, get the shell, peanuts, and try to take a picture with a throwaway camera. But I only had 4 peanuts. So when they would start to come, I would pull up my camera and go to shoot, and they'd fly away because it would scare the shit out of them. So we went round and round in circles, me and these birds, okay, in the back parking lot of where I live. And so I threw the nuts out, 4 of them. Again, a little, I put the first one way out there close to the bird. It started out with 1 or 2 birds, and then they started accumulating. And so I would get the first nut closest to them, then the second nut closer to me, and the third nut closer to me, and the 4th nut closer to me. So they'd have to keep coming towards me, and I could keep taking pictures. But every time I pulled up that camera, it freaked them out, and they flew away. And I was so mad, and I wouldn't give up. And so I kept doing it. And what happened was they started getting angry. And then, this is a true story. And then more birds started coming and flocking and flying around in the sky, but close to me in circles. And they started gathering, and then they would land, across a little, maybe they were maybe like I was on the curve, of the parking lot in the back. They were maybe like 7 feet away from me, okay? And so more and more birds started flying around, coming, and then landing, like 7 feet away from me. And, we went round and round with these fucking nuts. I wanted a damn picture close up. So I kept throwing those nuts out. And when I went to take the picture, it scared them and they flew away. So I would run up and I would pick up all those nuts. And I would wait. And then I would throw it again. Throw them down there again. And we went round and round in circles. And and the birds came and they turned into a gang. They turned into a bird gang. So this, if you're old enough to know the movie The Birds, just like Psycho, I think they're both by Alfred Hitchcock. Anyway, the birds, they truly will get angry and attack you if there's a reason. So what happened was, nobody would ever do something this crazy but me. Melinda's the only person on this whole planet that would do this with a bunch of birds. So now they're in a gang, right? And they're angry. And I threw the nuts out there. And they started flying towards my head. And I went, wow. And I picked the nuts up again, threw them out there. And they came and they started swarming. And they kept getting closer and closer to my head and swarming around as a gang of birds. Yeah. And they kept circling around on top of my head. They went from 6 inches away from my head. They flew away until I put the nuts out there again. Then they come flying as a gang angrily. And it turned from, we'll say, 10 inches or a foot to, 8 inches. And then they keep coming back. And you're getting down to 4 inches, 2 inches. And like 2 inches, they were getting to 1 inch from my head. The last time they came, and they were gonna attack me. They were gonna bite me, peck at me, peck. And I knew, I said, hey, and I took off and I ran like hell. Oh, that's so crazy. See, that's why you have to watch my whole videos, because you never know what I'm going to say. Melinda's YouTube channel, Melinda's Spontaneous Smart Diva Show, it's like Tom Hanks says, life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get when you're in Melinda's YouTube channel. See, that story just came out spontaneously. That's why my show's called Melinda's Spontaneous Smart, because I'm real smart. And diva, and I'm a diva. I like to dress like a Hollywood diva, or this way as a corporate office or a paralegal court reporter. Persona I'm in tonight. I have many facets to my personality, many personas. And most people have at least one or two, have two, you could have a lot more. But those birds were going to start pecking at my head. And I realized that. And I ran like hell. But that's why you got to keep watching my talk video. Because that just came out naturally. I can't even remember what got me going on birds. Was it because I was telling you all the different things I'll be teaching and maybe I said birds? That could be it. So yeah, I'm going to be teaching, so I'm teaching also right now the solar system. And I taught you some of the sun if you watch my talk video. So the universe and the solar system and the planets are like one of my biggest classes, and then and then my law classes. All I'm going to be doing like 100 different law classes. So we're going to have a ball and you'll learn a lot. But I'll go in my white book and pick out a few things that even grammar school students can learn, Yeah, I'm going to be teaching everything. So subscribe. Please subscribe and hit my like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. And keep watching the whole videos. Check them out and watch them because they keep getting better and better. And you see how that really funny and a life learning experience for you guys. I never knew that birds could gang up on a human being and get angry and then start flocking as a gang and getting closer to them and then flying away and closer and then flying away, and they were swarming around my head. Yeah, and kept getting closer and closer, swarming. And if I didn't run that last time, they were going to start peck, 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 but just like in the movie The Birds. Look it up on YouTube, Alfred Hitchcock, because a lot of you, I just turned 66 years old, so I don't know. I think I probably got a lot more. Either I could have kids as students and fans, and going up in age, and teenagers and people's in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So you might, most of you or a lot of you might not know The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock or The Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock. Me and my friends, we're in our 60s. We're senior citizens. So we know a lot of the same stuff, But see how that one story just came out, and it was really interesting. I never plan or premeditate what I'm going to say to you after I finish teaching the class. I just say, hey, how y'all doing? And I start talking. Oh, and I was telling you what I'm going to be teaching. And I must have said birds is one of them. And that must have been what got me going. See, so I never know what's going to come out of me. Because I got a lot of life stories that I was going to tell. I started, if you watch all my videos, I got 2 life stories. I had 3, but somehow it got deleted. So anyway, yeah. So I haven't told a life story in a while. I told a couple when I first started this show. But now I've gotten so into my classes, I haven't been in the mood for a spur-of-the-moment life story. But we just did one now tonight. Wasn't planned, and that's always the best. Spontaneity, is the zest of life, is spontaneity. That's the best you can have, is spontaneity. That's living life in the moment, living life spontaneously, and it makes it a lot of fun. So I want y'all to subscribe, please, and give me a chance, and keep watching, even if you go through what I got now. I just started out, so you can go through what I've got, but subscribe and stay and keep reading all of it and watching it for at least a couple of months, because I'll have more and more and more education, and I will be throwing in other classes, and I will be doing this universe too a lot. But I'll throw like something simple, just a few, few minutes on something simple or whatever. All right, so come on and subscribe and start partying with me. We have a ball. All right, I love you all. And let me give you a kiss goodnight. I'm going to go get me a cup of hot cocoa, open my window, and turn on my electric blanket. I love having cool air blowing through my window, and then get under this heated, hot electric blanket that Riverview gave me. Yeah, they gave it to me. And get under that electrical blanket and get warm. And YouTube some movies and go nighty-night. Okay, guys, I love y'all. Come on and stick around. Good night.